7 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Everyone's present. And a reminder, the call-in number for this meeting, if you're outside, is 930-8189. Item 4, acceptance of 3:15 and 3:29 minutes, and the 3:16 town meeting warrant.
I'll make a motion for the 3:15 and 3:29 selectmen meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of 3:15 and 3:29. Any discussion? All those in favor? 1, 4,
I will abstain because I wasn't here
Okay.
on March 29th.
1 abstention. Motion on the town meeting warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the town meeting warrant. Any discussion?
That should actually be the town meeting minutes, I believe.
Yes, sorry, it is. It's minutes.
It's the
Okay,
minutes
okay,
from the town meeting.
all right,
That was my intent.
Okay.
okay. All those in favor? Aye. Acceptance of the agenda, any changes on the agenda, James?
Yeah, I have one 11th hour item, and it's the announcement of the election process to begin for the Maine Municipal Association's Executive Committee and Vice President. They put it out this time of year if any board member wants to participate. And we can scratch items 15 and 16 as I have no executive sessions.
I'll move to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Open the public. Number 7, old business. 7A, appointments to boards. Discussion, action. James, you got something?
Yeah,
to say?
in your last meeting, you tabled 2 appointments. They were board appointments, annual board appointments. Brian Callahan for the planning board to a 5-year term. Tom Gosi to the planning board as an alternate 5-year term. Bud Rivers to the Board of Appeals, a 3-year term. And Ralph Jewell to the Board of Appeals as an alternate for a 3-year term. You will also need to accept Mark Bradstreet's resignation from the planning board and announce that there is an opening. And I do have several applications for this, but you have 60 days to fill the position, and it might be good to talk about this in our upcoming workshop before an appointment is made to replace Mark. They're not in jeopardy of not operating because they have a full board now less one. They have 2 alternates, so it won't interfere with their ability to make decisions. And it would be good to have a discussion in light of what happened during the last application process. And I know, at least in the next meeting that I had attended, I got accused for making a mistake for something that we should have a discussion about. So.
There's absolutely no reason we can't accept Mac's letter of resignation now.
Absolutely, I think
Right,
that starts the
right,
clock
right.
ticking anyway.
Yep.
But you do have 4 reappointments
Mhm.
on the table,
Right.
and this is the 2nd reading.
James, are there any,
No
Public
comments
comment?
from anyone.
I'll make a motion if it's alright.
Hmm?
So I'll just put them together unless somebody thinks otherwise. I'll make a motion to reappoint Brian Callahan to the planning board for a 5-year term. Tom Gosi, planning board alternate, 5-year term. Bud Rivers, Board of Appeals 3-year term, and Ralph Jewell, Board of Appeals alternate, 3-year term, and accept Mr. Bradstreet's resignation from the planning board.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to appoint Brian Callahan to the planning board, Tom Ghostly, the planning board alternate, Bud Rivers, the Board of Appeals, Ralph Jules, the Board of Appeals alternate, plus accept Mac Bradstreet's resignation from the planning board. Any comments?
It's not the right motion.
Hearing none, call for a
Hold on
vote.
a second.
Tom fills Mark's unexpired term,
Right,
but he's not an alternate. You put him on as an alternate.
right. We're confirming the last meeting's motion to table. And then we'll address how we're gonna fill the position after the workshop. 'Cause, and I'm sorry I didn't talk to you ahead of time.
No. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But Tom Gosey doesn't go on for 5 years as an alternate. Tom Gosey goes on as a regular member,
He,
and it's not for 5 years,
okay.
which you've got to change that motion.
Are you saying that he would go on as a regular member to replace Mark?
That's correct.
Okay, so we haven't made that decision yet.
Right, that's where I was at.
Right. We're gonna take that up next
You
time.
tabled the position in the manner in which he was being renewed.
Right.
If after our meeting, which I fully suspect we'll do, we move him to Mark's open position,
Right.
it would be only for the term until Mark
Right.
is, his term would be up.
Right.
And then we would be filling Tom's position.
With the applicants.
But in order for the board to make their very next decision, Tom has to be appointed in some form.
Right.
And right now, that form, because you haven't decided how to fill Mark's position, would be that alternate.
Right, so
position.
this is the first step in the.
This
the
is
next
the
step.
step one. So he's a member. It's just that, and I do suspect we'll, because he's, and just to backtrack a little bit, George has done the legwork to ask the alternates if they're interested in becoming full board members.
Right, that'd be the first
And
question I
he
had.
stepped up to say he does. So logically, we will be appointing him if that's the direction the board goes. We're not trying to step in front of that. It's just that
Okay, question.
in order to
for
make the
George
next
now.
decision,
No, that's
the
fine.
best way is to get him appointed, and then if he takes the decision to take the very next meeting and make a decision, he's got authority to do that until you meet at the end of the month.
Right.
Question for George while he's in the room. So Leanne is deferring to Tom for the reappointment?
That's correct.
Okay.
She's generally preferred to be an alternate.
Yeah, she's done that in the past. Yeah.
Any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Who made the second?
Doug did, he has his hand
I
up.
thought it was Doug. Thank you.
That was a while ago.
I do want to apologize to George. I didn't clue him in as to the direction I was recommending. But I also want to bring up one more thing while we're on appointments to boards. One of your board members needs to officially step off from the comprehensive plan committee, or the comprehensive plan committee.
I officially resigned from the comprehensive plan.
We discussed that
Okay.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Okay, thank you.
I'll stay on.
Okay.
I would suggest that Mark maybe just write a letter to that effect or an email.
I would do.
7B, North Station repairs.
I really want to thank Bud for bringing this forward. I truly thought that repair to the vent pipe was taken care of years ago. We have a plan. The materials have been bought, but it's way too cold to think that roof cement will cure properly. So we're kind of on hold. We do have the equipment. AJ actually ran over to the hardware store the other day and picked it up. Just a matter of getting up on the roof and carefully, gingerly getting on the roof and gooping it up properly and putting the sleeve on. And we'll have that repaired as soon as spring gets here.
Do that in July.
No other issues at North Station right now that
No decision.
major. Uh, 7C, set a date for Economic Development Committee workshop.
April 26th and 28th would be preferable. They're a little bit later than I'd like to get to this. The title is Economic Development Committee to talk about that, but we have a lot of other items that we need to address, including trash disposal, tax acquired property, and of course appointments to boards as far as if we want to develop a procedure or affect. Another thing that we do need to talk about is the Selectmen's Policy Book. The edition that is current is the 2013, and we should be reviewing that. I also have a couple of minor recommendations to the personnel manual that the board should be a part of the discussion. They're really clarification items, and all that needs to be wrapped into a workshop. I expect it would be, it's pretty packed, but it's all work that we've got to
Probably
do.
need a second one at some point.
We may need to do two.
Well, like I said in an email, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind,
Yep.
I would like to talk about economic development and the North Station situation at this workshop before we get to the other stuff, and I think we can probably have a lively discussion on those two issues and at least touch on.
That'll take 2 hours.
Yeah, take a good chunk, but I think we can at least touch on maybe the board issue, whatever. But
Yeah.
I'd like to definitely talk about those two things.
All right. April 26th,
It's fine by me.
fine with everyone?
Fine with me, I don't have my calendar.
Okay with me.
26.
It's okay with me, but it's obvious we're gonna need two. Do you wanna set the other one up tonight? So we don't,
What else we got? May.
before other committees take us.
May 10th or 12th would be the next week. You'd have that meeting on the 26th. You'd have May 3rd, and then that following week of May 10th or 12th would be the Tuesday or Thursday.
I don't mind May 10th, that's fine.
10,
That's fine.
May
For
10th.
me,
okay, April 26th,
6:30 right
and
here.
May 10th,
6:30, Chair.
6:30.
Make a motion that we set a workshop for the 26th of April and May 10th at 6:30 at this location.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, set workshop dates for April 26th and May 10th. Discussion? All in favor? It's a date. New business, position opening at the transfer station.
I have an official letter of resignation from Jared Chapels, and he will be done, our employee, he will retire on April 14th. At this point, it's the board's decision, how to fill the position. I hate to say it, this also might, I know we'll have to figure out how to run the operation, but this might be something we want to review from a government operational side as well in workshop, so that we know that we're getting. I have sat for hours watching transfer station recordings, because we record what goes on up there, and I've sat for hours watching it, seeing nothing take place. It might be a time for us to do a review. Maybe Jerry would be a part of that review to decide maybe the hours need to change, or maybe the operation itself needs to change. There's a lot of discussion to be had as to how to tighten up the operation. One of the things that our auditors have been interested in for a number of years is how we pay for the transfer station. We got rid of cash; it's gone. Nobody takes money. We do checks, which is fine if people are in a pinch, and we have dump stickers. But a lot of municipalities are actually using the bags, where you buy a trash bag that is. Now, I don't like the idea of that, and I probably like most of the people in Searsport. I'm a little paranoid of change, but that is one guaranteed way that that the sticker doesn't become the currency, because people can trade or sell or collect transfer stickers. There's some things to talk about operation-wise, and it might be a good time to address that before we fill the position.
So any action we need to take with this one, or just table it?
I would table to the next meeting, and in the meantime, I'll have time to sit with Bob, maybe develop some plan of action. I just don't think it's our best course of action from a management standpoint to do the same thing we've been doing when we might be able to improve services or save the town a little bit of money and not affect their ability to use the station. So,
Okay, do you think you'll have some information by one of these workshops?
well, I think I might have information by the next meeting.
Alright.
But in the meantime, we should accept the resignation
Mhm.
with regrets
Yep.
and table the decision on how to fill the position
Right.
till the next meeting.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that effect, to accept the resignation with regret and table to the next regular meeting.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept Jerry Chapel's letter of retirement, resignation, and also table this till the next meeting. Any discussion?
I second. I second.
Yeah, any discussion?
Oh, no.
Okay. All those in favor?
Can I, while we're on this subject, can I, Jim, when you talk with Bob, think of Lemon Leaf Day, see if Bob can pick a day, probably
I will do that.
in May, because once it warms up, people will be cleaning their yard, so.
Cops grant opportunity.
I have reported out to the chief that the federal government is releasing the next rounds of police law enforcement grants under the COPS program. I thought he'd be here tonight, but I don't think there's enough information yet for him to share anything. And again, if we could table this and probably the next two items, B and C, to the next meeting, we'll see if the chief will be here.
I'll make a motion, we table 8B and 8C to the next meeting.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to table item B and C. Any discussion?
Is this the same grant that we participated in before?
No, it's different, but it's the COPS government office has been in operation for about 20 years, and they've released rounds of grants. First, it was to increase police on the streets. Lately, the grants have been specific to school resource officers, and I don't have the specific information. And I know the chief is keen on getting it, and he should be here to talk about it and whether it's worth our participation.
What's that do?
Thank you.
You need to vote.
Oh, now we're gonna vote.
I thought we did.
Okay. No more discussion, call for vote, all those in favor? Uh, 8D, Historic Preservation Committee is requesting some help.
Yeah, the Historic Preservation Committee has been working with the Comprehensive Plan Committee on doing its role as far as the history that goes into that document. During the process, they realized that our current ordinances are very likely to actually preserve any of our history or buildings. They would like to have a state historian come and advise them on other measures they could take to do their mission. The consultant cost is around $400, and they would be talking to them about samples or examples of ordinances that are in place in other communities, and maybe develop an ordinance for us in the direction of bringing some historic preservation protections to the town. And the reason we're coming to you is their committee, they can't self-authorize, and this is a little outside of what we've done in the past. Not that we haven't done it for other committees, but this is the first time that they've actually had the need to have someone come in that scope. And again, in the end, if it becomes a recommended ordinance, they would bring it to you. You would have the authority whether or not to put it on the warrant or not. But you know, they can't do anything without authorization.
Does the Historic Preservation Committee have its own account? Is that what
We do.
That's where it would come from?
Yep.
Around what? $1,100, $1,200?
I think we put $1,500 in it. They do have some printing to take care of this year, but we can scale that back a little bit and we'll fall within that budget.
Do I have a motion?
It's a good idea. I'll make a motion that we authorize up to $400 from the Historic Preservation Committee account for the committee to hire a consultant.
Second that.
Motion made and seconded to come up with, authorize up to $400 for, historic,
So
ordinance,
Consultant.
consultant. Any discussion? All those in favor? James, 11th hour on MMA elections.
yeah, I put a packet in your boxes about the Maine Municipal Executive Committee election process and the application for a vice president's position. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It comes about every year. And they're seeking nominations. Any board member, any manager, almost, I think clerks are involved, can put in for a nomination to be on the executive board. The responsibilities of the board are also listed. And the final page, for those of you that might be interested, is the application. If you were interested and filled it out, I would make sure to deliver it. It's a pretty good group. I used to be on the LPC, the Legislative Policy Committee Forum, and they're pretty well organized. And I throw that out there for you.
Any board member interested in being on the committee MMA? Thank you for the information, James. Correspondence.
Sorry about that. The chief is a devoted watcher of our program. He's texting me to remind me of the alarm ordinance that he's been working on and recommending, and it's obviously something that we want to take up, one of those items for workshop that
I remember that, yeah.
we really have to dig into. In correspondence, the first item is from Maine Municipal, and it's our unemployment compensation fund balance report. In the balance as of December 31st, we have $18,068. The total balance for all municipalities is over $600,000. The next item is from the town of Bucksport, from their Community and Economic Development Director, and they are letting us know that they're starting to participate in a co-op for food, a food hub, I'm sorry, I gotta get the terminology right. And I have had some very brief conversations with both him and members of potential members of the food co-op. So I'm looking into this. There's some more information here. And the next item is from the John Bryant, who is thanking us for helping with the Wings of Love. And there are some changes taking place. And I know that that Sue is actually doing some coordinating with that. I want to let you know about that. The next item is...
Can I just speak on that for a
Yep.
minute? The Wings of Love, Barney Ho's group over there has been holding an event every Christmas when Santa Claus comes in. A lot of toys have gone out of that firehouse into this organization. There's a lot of kids that have stuff that come right from here, and I think this group here really appreciates it. And I can bring this forward to Barney Ho's. We've got Toys for Tots listed and another one listed on here, so I'm sure they'll want to continue the tradition. It's been very good for the county.
Yeah, this is part of the discussion that Sue has been having. The Wings of Love is ceasing the toy collection, and there are groups and individuals who want to continue. They're looking for some space to store some toys and such. So I know Sue is coordinating that, and I expect a report back. There's a couple residents from Searsport very keen on doing what we can to continue that. The next item is the last item, actually several pages included. It's the report from the Department of Environmental Protection. They did a recent inspection of the wastewater treatment plant, and these are the findings as a result of their inspection. I do know that Howard is well on his way. Most of the items that I'm aware of have already been dealt with, that are identified, and he's working to get the rest of them in line with where the DMR wants them to be. That's it.
Treasurer's warrant.
I'll move that we approve that pending our signatures.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the treasurer's warrant for signatures. All those in favor? James, your report.
The Public Works, even though we've been experiencing unusually cold weather, for the most part the frost is out of the ground under the roads. We are taking down the posted signs. Of course, with spring come potholes. We are very busy patching potholes and cutting roadside brush. We do expect to be taking down the remaining cemetery barricades this week. In wastewater, Howard and Dan are both doing well, and I have no significant news to report. Of course, you just got the inspection report. In Carver Memorial Library, Katie and the crew are doing well. We do have some repair projects to address this spring. Apparently the back steps are in need of repair again, and the trim needs to be painted on the building. We did receive a grant for the painting, and I will be in contact with the contractor to get that project moving as soon as possible. The ambulance has been extremely busy. They responded to 80 calls for service in March. 6 of those were interfacility transfers, and both ambulances are running good. The fire department responded to 6 alarms in March and issued 39 permits. The chief reports that all vehicles are running good. Code enforcement is doing well. I have nothing to pass forward. The police department responded to 245 calls for service in March. All vehicles are running good. The chief did assist the school with student interviews for scholarship applications. Town Hall, last month the annual town meeting went very good. We were over-prepared for written ballots on votes from the warrant. Luckily, we had none. We should be able to get the final voted budget numbers plugged into the computer later this week. In the committees, the Maine Department of Transportation was here in March, talked about the downtown revitalization project. The meeting was well attended with many questions, and they were answered, and many committees did meet in March. That's it.
I'll move we accept the manager's report.
Second.
And moving second is accept town manager report. Discussion. All in favor? Department report. Aaron, anything?
Nothing this week, thank you.
Mark?
I don't have anything.
No.
Nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
We had a downtown revitalization meeting last Wednesday night. I think it went very well. We had some input from people, and we set up 2 subcommittees, one to look into sidewalks, the other on the poles. And we hope probably within a month to get some
And lighting.
lighting, yeah. And we expect to get some input, have another meeting probably within a month or so. So we're taking the first steps on that, and some things that should be done before next year, we've got to really address and get into.
Yeah.
Fleeing to fall, I spoke with Kerry Cross. They're having a manpower problem. It's a serious one, and they need help. And you know, if you think back, I don't know how long Fleeing to Fall has been going on. I'm sure George could pop his head up and tell us, but I think it's close to 20 years
Almost
now.
20.
Yeah.
So
And
anyway,
throughout that time, a lot of people have stepped on the committee, put in a few years and stepped out. And right now, more seem to have stepped out. Got to get some new people in there, or we're gonna lose something that's become a big part of the fall of Searsport, you know, the October event. It's down to 1 day this year. It'll be the first Saturday in October. But they need some help, they need some new ideas. There's been, I know, I could name one man, but he probably wouldn't want me to name him, but he's been doing more than he should, longer than he should. And you get tired after a while. So if we can get some young blood in and take it 4 or 5 years down the road and rotate through, we can make this go on for a long time. But Kerry says we may have nothing if we don't get more people. When you have a meeting and 2 people show up for something like that, it's just not good. Not good at all.
I couldn't make the meeting, but I did intend to go.
Good, good. And a reminder, Anglers is giving 10% off dinners from 4 to 8 p.m. on April the 13th. That's a Wednesday night. And that 10% is going to Barney Hose for the purpose of purchasing more street numbers. So if you're thinking of going out to dinner, if you're getting close to the 13th, if you come on the 13th, 10% comes back into town, and it goes in front of people's homes. So, good thing to remember.
And what hours?
4 to 8 p.m.
4 to 8, okay.
Yep. That's it. Yep.
I just want to report that last Friday, a group of us met here who was working on the Heritage Weekend. That is brilliant. It was going to be 2 days, and now it's going to start on Friday evening. Get so many events planned. In fact, last time we met, we started taking some off. Well, you know, this is too much. And some of the folks said, well, let's not forget we're going to use them next year.
Yep. Yep.
This may become a one-time deal. What we're going to be doing on our next meeting, which is going to be on the 15th, is start just take all of the events and try to schedule them, so that we can start getting ready to make up some brochures as to what time this is going to take place. So there's a lot going on. That's it. Anyone else? Nothing else on the board? James?
I'm not a board member, but
Yeah,
I do want to give you one report. I was in Augusta today to attend and support the governor's nominations to the magnet school committee to build the curriculum and plan the school for the magnet school. And I got to tell you, it was, of course, I'm always worried, and I'm always a bit of a pessimist when it comes to things like this. But I got to tell you, we have absolutely the greatest group of people, diverse, intelligent, articulate, fantastic group of people to build this school for us and the curriculum. In fact, so much so that members of the Education and Cultural Affairs Committee approached me afterwards, congratulating me. They're not my nominations, they're the governor's, although I had a hand in trying to pick them and find them. But they came to me after the meeting saying they've never had such a great group of people to be assembled for one task, like to build this school. And they appoint, you know, University of Maine, the Community College System Board of Trustees. They have a lot of appointees they made, and it was very impressive to me to have them individually come up and congratulate me and applaud us for compiling a group of folks that will more than likely be a huge success for us. And Bud was there. He testified. He was a nominee, and blew him away, as did the rest of them. And I sat very nervously because our first gentleman up was Captain Flanagan, the knuckle dragger, who self-proclaimed knuckle dragger, who you've all met already. So I was like a cat on a window ledge, wondering what was going to be said. But they did such a fantastic job. I am so proud of that group. And again, I hadn't heard from all of them in the same place. I've talked to them individually. I think we have a group that will be cohesive, and they're going to do some great things to advance this school. This is the first round. There's still some positions open and people to be identified, but as far as a core group goes, we are tracking true. We're really where we need to be, and I'm very encouraged by what I heard, and the reaction of the education committee to this group was phenomenal, because they have more or less have some veto power, and they seem to now take some ownership that they want to see this happen as well. So we are one huge step forward towards getting the school becoming a reality for Searsport, and I wanted to report that out because I'm very, very pleased and very impressed. Thank you.
Good news.
Jim, can I say, you know, the school board meeting is next Tuesday night, if you wanted to attend that and give them that information as a group?
Yeah, I certainly will try. I'm hoping that the legislature won't be meeting till the wee hours of the morning. They're trying to end. They think they're going to end this week, but my prediction it will be until early next week. And that usually means a meeting that goes until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, but as long as I'm not tied in there, I'll definitely go make that report, because they should know this just was such a positive interaction with the state government that they need
exactly what will be approved, or
well, what they did today was they approved the nominations from the governor, which in this political climate is a feat in and of itself.
Yes.
Without any political banterings or argument. I think the people stood up, they stood tall, and they presented themselves well enough that there was no question. These are the people that we need to build this school, and forget the political divide. They all support it. It was all unanimous.
so what are we actually down to get it off the ground besides the committee?
The committee needs to build a plan. That's really what it falls down to.
And it goes to the education committee?
It comes back to that committee and gets built into the commissioner's budget. We attempted to go up afterwards and meet with Deb Plowman in the commissioner's office, but she was out sick. The flu is running rampant across the state right now, and she actually was out sick. But we'll get a meeting probably sometime this week with her and set a schedule for where we can start getting this going. They have a delivery date of February 15th, 2017. And like I told some of the members of that committee, if this group can't do it, it can't be done. So I have that much confidence in them. So.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Open to the public. Very good.
Jack, we spoke last week and you forgot to mention one of the things that you had talked to me about. That you wanted to take a tour of some of the
okay,
buildings.
we'll bring it up at workshop.
It's been a number of years since we've done that,
Right.
and I think it would be worthy to go to all the buildings
Right.
again. In fact, it's been 8+ years since we visited facilities. So.
About 8 years. I remember that it seemed like one of our selectmen couldn't find the building, and that was good that he got out there and saw it.
Yeah, Mark.
Hey, you want to mention, we got that plow truck back, the wings are on it and everything, that one of those that we got through surplus.
Yep.
So if you want to take a look at that beast.
Yeah, the only problem is there was a bolt loose within the transmission bell housing, and it came out and it rattled around and did some damage to the bell housing. So it's a brand new vehicle with like 20,000 miles and a damaged bell housing. I just received an Army manual for repair. I ordered it through Amazon and Amazon Prime, of course.
All right.
And I'll be giving that to the crew tomorrow, and they're going to start getting that fixed. Just the way it is.
Anything else from public? Bud?
I do, probably should see how I want to say this. Are you still considering what you had suggested several years ago to hold one of your workshops up north?
I'm open to it. I think at some point.
Well, when you talked about holding them over in the other public safety building, the then board committed to having a workshop on that building, in that building?
Yeah, I think at some
And
point,
that
if we're gonna
never
have
happened?
a workshop, on that issue, I think it makes
Right.
sense to do it. I don't know if that
Right.
makes sense to do at the next workshop, because we have a bunch of stuff to
Right.
talk about.
Yeah,
I've always been open to that.
Yeah. And I live right down the street, so I'm definitely open to that, but,
but you know, we ought to at least look at, North Station in the Public Works building.
yeah, I mean, at this point, I think we need to come up with a plan, and then we can go from
Right.
there. But I think when
Yeah.
we get down
But
to
it
some nitty
possibly
gritty,
could be related someday.
If you were interested in doing that in May, I could advertise it that way.
Mhm.
And we could take that step for the May meeting. It wouldn't be too big a deal.
No.
Yeah, I'd say let's see how the April 26th meeting goes as far
Yeah.
as what
That's right.
our approach
You
is
know,
gonna be.
because it's next.
I'm definitely in favor of that.
May and June are when you got your longest daylight, hours
Right.
of daylight. So you
Yeah.
can-
That's it.
Any other thing come before the board?
I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to adjourn. All in favor?